Greetings! Manta-Ray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty then, let's begin pressing the A button now. Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now, the deck profile video I'm going to be making today is a Dragon Empire's Dragonic Overlord the End D-BT10. Okie dokie, let's begin. Selecting the deck, entering edit deck, and off we go. And here we are. Like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building in today's deck profile video is a Dragon Empire's Dragonic Overlord the End deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT10. Okay, let's go to the filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-BT1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT2, A Brush of the Legends, D-BT3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT5, Private Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, and then D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, D-BT7, Raging Flame Against the Emerald Storm, D-BT8, Minerva Rising, D-BT9, Dragon Tree Invasion, and finally, D-BT10, Dragon Masquerade. Apply filter, and okie dokie, let's begin. First up, the Grade 3 lineup. And now, for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord the End. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's drive cannot decrease from card effects and it gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard, once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, cost, counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from hand. If the cost when paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord the End, it's the main Grade 3 to run this deck. Its skill is the first skill. As long as the conditions of the first skill are met, not only does your Vanguard's drive check become protected from being reduced, but you can also always get plus 5,000 power when it's your turn. And the second skill, after attacking, by paying the cost, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. The only downside is it gets drive -1 after attacking, but as long as you fulfilled the first skill's conditions, the second skill's negative effect is more or less removed, thereby making sure you'll always have a Vanguard who can attack twice with twin drives for each attack. And affirmative, the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord the End. We have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Next up, the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard or rear guard. During the battle, this unit attacks a rear guard. Your opponent cannot call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard, once per turn. When this unit attack hits, cost, counterblast 1 and discard 1 card from hand. If the cost when paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, it's one of the main Grade 3s to play in this deck. Its skill is the first skill. Whenever it attacks an opponent's rear guard, your opponent cannot protect that rear guard cards from hand, thereby making the attack almost unstoppable. And the second skill, after your Vanguard Overlord attacks hits on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, by paying the cost, you can restand your Vanguard Overlord for another attack. And okie dokie, the Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord. We have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 3 Normal Order Gradia Gradel. Skills, first skill, continuous. Regulus piece, you may only have 1 Regulus piece in your deck and use it a total of 1 time in the fight. Second skill, order. Play this with if you have a Grade 3 Vanguard Persona Ride and you did not ride this turn, activate Persona Ride. Draw a card. All of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power this turn, and you are regarded to have Persona Road. So for Gradia Gradale, a very powerful order to play in pretty much any D standard format deck. Its skill, by activating this order card, you can initiate Persona Riding without having to ride it at all, thereby increasing your hand size by drawing 1 card, and giving you more power to work with by giving your front row plus 10,000 power. and also any skills that require your Vanguard to have Persona Road. This orders effect, or more or less treat your Vanguard as having already Persona Road. And okay, the Grade 3 normal order, Gradia Gradel, we have 1 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 3 lineup. Next up, the Grade 2 lineup. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 2, Dragon Knight Nehalem. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rode upon by a unit with Overlord in its card name, call this card to rearguard circle. Second skill, action is a rearguard once per turn. If you have a Vanguard of Overlord in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, this unit and all of your Vanguards gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Dragon Knight Nehalem, it's the main Grade 2 to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, when ridden on top of by an Overlord, you can then superior call Nehalem from your soul to the rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game. Second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to turn your Dragon Knight Nehalem into a potential 15,000 point attacker for your front row, but you can also give your Vanguard a little extra power to work with. And alright, the Grade 2 Dragon Knight Nehalem, we have 1 in the Ride deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Steel Bullet of Duststorm Ethan. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard's attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost and pay, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Ethan, a pretty powerful card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill. Whenever your Vanguard lands a successful attack on either the opponent's Vanguard or rear guard by paying the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards, but you can also refund your counterblast for later skills. And okie dokie, the Grade 2 Steel Bullet of Duststorm Ethan, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card of Overlord in its card name, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, countercharge 1. And the second skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard of Overlord in its card name attacks, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Horn Dragon, a support card for the Overlord series, if its skill is the first skill, when called onto the rear guard and paying the cost, you have the chance to check the top cards of your deck for an Overlord to help you in your later game strategy. And the best part about this first skill, it's refundable. Even the off chance you fail to get any Overlords with the first skill, you can then countercharge 1, thus refunding the counterblast you used to pay for the first skill. And the second skill, while on the rear guard, whenever your Vanguard Overlord attacks, you can give power to your Burning Horn Dragon, thereby making Burning Horn a powerful front row attacker to have for your Overlord decks. And the best part about this second skill, it's stackable. For the Overlord series, specializes in restanding and attacking multiple times your Vanguard. For every attack your Vanguard makes, you can continue stacking power to Burning Horn Dragon, giving you a powerful front row attacker to make it easier to either to pressure your opponent or to even finish them off with. And affirmative, the Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Great Flame Axe of Ambitious Scales Kolgaflan. Skills, first skill, auto. When this card is discarded from hand during your ride phase, cost Soul Blast 1 and put this card on the bottom of your deck. If the cost and pay, draw a card. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, if your Persona wrote this turn, cost counterblast 1. If the cost and paid, retire all of your opponent's rear guards to the same columns as unit. So for Kolgaflan, a pretty powerful card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill, the first skill. When discarded during your ride phase by paying the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards, but you can also slightly restock your deck to make it easier to stave off decking out with. And the second skill, when called onto the rear guard while the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can then retire all of your opponent's rear guards to the same column as Kolgaflan, thus making it easier to clear your opponent's field and to give you a better advantage in the game. And confirm, the Grade 2 Great Flame Axe of Ambitious Scale Kolgaflan, we have 2 in the deck. And then the Grade 2 Ardor Hatchet Dragon. Skills, first skill, continuous as a guardian. If your soul has a card of Overlord in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. Second skill, action as a rear guard. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, choose a grade 3 card of Overlord in its card name from your drop and put it into your soul. So for Ardor Hatchet Dragon, another support card for the Overlord series. If its skill is the first skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the first skill are met, you can then turn your Ardor Hatchet Dragon into a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. Second skill, as long as the conditions to the second skill are met and you pay the cost, you can then take any grade 3 Overlord from your drop zone and place into your Vanguard Soul, thus giving you another card to potentially Soul Blast with, or to make it easier to fulfill the conditions of Dragonic Overlord the end skill. And okay, the grade 2 Ardor Hatchet Dragon, we have 4 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's grade 1 lineup. And now, for the grade 1 lineup. For the grade 1s in this deck, we are playing Right Deck, grade 1, Embodiment of Armor, Bar. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is rolled upon by Dragonic Overlord, cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, Auto, as a rear guard once per turn. When your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Embodiment of Armor Bar, it's the main grade 1s around this deck. The skills, the first skill, when you ride a Dragonic Overlord on top of your Vanguard bar, by paying the cost, you can then secure any grade 1 card from your deck to add to your hand for your later game strategy. And the second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, your bar then can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for your front row or a 13,000 point booster for your back row. And alright, the grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar, we have 1 in the deck, in the right deck. Next up, the grade 1 Dragonic Hall. Skills, first skill, continuous. When this card will be discarded from hand for the cost of the ability of your Vanguard of Overlord its card name, it may be regarded as 2 cards. Second skill, Auto. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of the ability of your Vanguard of Overlord its card name, you may call this card to back row rear guard. If you called, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Dragonic Hall, a support card for the Overlord series, with its skills, the first skill, whenever you would discard a halt for the cost of your Vanguard Overlord's skill, it is then treated as 2 cards, thereby reducing the number of cards you have to discard from your hand for an Overlord skill, for in this case, Dragonic Overlord the end. And the second skill, whenever halt is discarded from your hand to pay for the cost of a Dragonic Overlord skill, you can then superior call a halt from the drop zone to your back row rear guard to serve as a potential 13,000 point boost. And okie dokie, the grade 1 Dragonic Halt, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the grade 1 Twin Buckler Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Twin Buckler Dragon, a perfect guard for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block an enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, thereby making Twin Buckler Dragon a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. And affirmative, the great 1 Twin Buckler Dragon. We have 3 in the deck. And next up, the great 1 Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in the deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Place the cost of, discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When played and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. But ideally, Elementaria Sanctitude works best against opponents who play decks that specialize in having Vanguards of triple drive, for example grade 4s or Vanguards who have their drive checks increased by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, Elementaria Sanctitude then can serve as a potential no-cost perfect guard. And alright, the Grade 1 Elementarius Sanctitude. We have 1 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 1 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Grade 0 lineup. And now, for the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing Right Deck, Grade 0, Lizard Runner Undo. Skill Auto. When this unit is ruled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Undo, it's the starting unit's deck, and like any other starting unit in the D standard format, it features the same skill and activation. When written on the top of, if you're the second to go, draw 1 card. And alright, the Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undo, we have 1 in the right deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Trigger lineup. And now, for the deck's Trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we are playing the Grade 0, Dragon D-BT10 Resurgence, Drag Vita, Overtrigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect. Choose one of your Vanguards and restand it. So for Drag Vita, it's the Overtrigger for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other Overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or a damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card. But he also features an ability unique to him alone. When revealed during a drive check during your turn, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And okie dokie, the Grade 0 Dragon D-BT10 Resurgence Drag Vita Overtrigger. We have 1 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0 Burning Flail Dragon Critical Trigger. Skill Auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of the units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Flail Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill. After boosting the attack, regardless if the attack hits or not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also give a little extra power to your remaining attackers in the field, Vanguard or Rear Guard. And affirmative, the Grade 0 Burning Flail Dragon, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0 Blaze War Monk Sogil Critical Trigger. We have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0 Draw Trigger Flarebill Dragon. Skill Continuous as a Guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Flarebill Dragon, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Flare Veil then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. And alright, the Grade 0 Flare Veil Dragon draw trigger, we have 3 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Stealth Fiend Amavira Heal Trigger. Skill Auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Amavira, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with her skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can then turn your Amavira into a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Amavira is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding their units for additional attacks, Vanguard or Rear Guard. And okie dokie, the Grade 0 Stealth Fiend Amavira Heal Trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And next up, the Grade 0 Cure Flare Draco Kid Heal Trigger. Skill Auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cure Flare Draco Kid, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. If its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can then turn your Cure Flare Draco Kid into a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Cure Flare Draco Kid is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, Vanguard or Rear Guard by skill or card effect. And affirmative, the Grade 0 Cure Flare Draco Kid Heal Trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's build and card effects. Next, let's get on to... And with that, the deck has been built, card effects explained. For the cards in this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, 4 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, the end. 1 Grade 3, Normal Order, Gradia Gradel. 1 Grade 2, Dragon Knight Nihalem. 4 Grade 2, Steel Bullet Duststorm Ethan. 4 Grade 2, Burning Horn Dragon. 2 Grade 2, Great Flame Axe of Ambitious Scales Kogaflan. 4 Grade 2, Ardor Hatchet Dragon. 3 Grade 1, Twin Buckler Dragon. 1 Grade 1, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. 1 Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor Bar. 4 Grade 1, Drag Ritter Hull. And 1 Grade 1, Lizard Runner Undo, starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck we are playing, 1 Grade 0, Over Trigger Drag Vita. 8 Critical Triggers. 3 Draw Triggers. And 4 Heal Triggers. And the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck. So leaving the edit deck menu. And here we are, back in the main menu. Going to test out a deck, so let's go to the fight menu, selecting CPU fight, and selecting the deck I just built, the Dragon Empires, Dragonic Overlord DN, D-Booster 10 deck. Selecting the deck and choosing my opponent to test the deck out on. I think this time I'm gonna test out my deck against, let's see, who would be a good choice? How about I'll use it against Hatsuki Bunkyo, normal difficulty. And the battle begins. Let's get started. Here we are in the fight. We're gonna decide who goes first. So, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors to paper, I win. Going first. Drawing our starting hands, I got a critical, a Ethan, a perfect guard, a Ardor Hatchet, and a Halb. Not a bad draw. Gonna hold on to Ardor Hatchet, redrawing everything else. Redraw. Another Ardor Hatchet, perfect guard, and critical, and draw. Pretty much the same. Drew. Alright, I drew a Halb, pretty much the same hand I had before, so I'm gonna write from the right deck. Embodiment of Armor Bar. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding Flare Veil Dragon. Discard and ride Bar. That's it for my turn. End of turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Grade 1. In the calm streets, Chaos. Starter skill, draw a card, and calling Gungram. Gungram skill, soul charging. A Flaming Pony. Oh no! A potential soul charger. Another Flaming Pony. So lucky. Soul charging again. Yes, a critical and a perfect guard out of the deck. 2 cards less to worry about. Yep, he soul charged a critical and a perfect guard. So, no guard, gonna take it. He drive checks A. No trigger, so here comes 1 damage. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Overlord. Ah, not good, I need that card. Gungram attacks the Vanguard. No guard, gonna take it. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Burning Horn, come on! 2 cards I really need. End of my opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. Ah, come on, a heal trigger? Ah, so unlucky. Fine, whatever, gonna ride from the right deck, Dragon Knight Nihalem. For the right deck cost, discarding the heal trigger Amavira, and ride Nihalem. Skill of Bar. Counterblast 1, Counterblast, and search my deck for a great one. I'm adding Twin Buckler Dragon, perfect guard to hand. There we go, adding to hand and shuffle. Next, I call Ardor Hatchet Dragon to the rear guard, calling. And going to the battle phase. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 10k to 8k. The attack goes through, drive check. Yes, critical trigger, lucky. Critical to the Vanguard. Power to Order Hatchet. Critical added and power added. Here we go. 2 damage to the opponent. And pierce. Damage check first. No trigger. Grade 2. Safe. And second check. No trigger. Order card. Safe. Now, Order Hatchet Dragon attacks Gung Ram. 20 to 8k. The attack goes through and slash. 1 less rear guard to worry about. That's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Grade 2 Quagsmire of Solace Chaos skill, revealing Grade 3 Chaos and Gung Ram. Go to the soul and he calls the Grade 2's Expeller and Amazing Frost. Okay, this is gonna be tough. Soul charging, he soul charged a heal trigger. 1 less trigger to worry about. I'm gonna let the rear guard go through, no guard. Here it comes. Ow. Damage check. No trigger, the end. 1 less card to Persona Ride. Not good. Vanguard to Vanguard. Guard. Burning Flow Dragon. Over trigger to pass. And Twin Drive. Nope, 1 drive, check. No trigger, safe. And ka-chink. Now here comes 1 more attack from the rear guard. Amazing Frost. I can't afford to throw away too many hand cards, so let the attack go through, no guard. And here it comes. Ow. Damage check. Critical trigger. I made a mistake. I should have let the Vanguard go through instead. Now I'm at 4 damage and I wasted a critical trigger. This is not a good start. End of my opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. Yes, Calgaflan. I ride from the right deck. Dragonic Overlord the end. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding Great Flame Axe of Ambitious Scales, Calgaflan. Discard and ride. Dragonic Overlord the end. First, activating the Harlem skill. Superior call from the soul to the rear guard. Call. And then, activating Calgaflan's skill, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and sending him to the bottom of the deck. I draw 1 card and draw. Critical trigger, come on, I wasted another trigger. Fine, whatever. Nehalem skill, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blasting Bar, and power to himself and Overlord. Looking good, and then that's it from main phase. On to battle phase. First, Order Hatchet Dragon attacks the rear guard. Crimson Expeller, attack, 10k to 10k. The attack goes through and slash. 1 less rear guard to worry about. Now my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 18k. The attack goes through, Twin Drive, first check. Yes, a draw trigger, lucky. I draw. The end, yes, Persona Ride for next turn. Power to Vanguard. And the second check. Yes, heal trigger. Lucky. I heal. Yes, Overlord to the drop zone. I can then later use my Order Hatchet Dragon to send it to the soul next turn, giving power to Dragon Knight Nehalem. Healing 1 and 1 damage to the opponent. Here we go. And bang bang bang, slash slash slash, burn. Damage check. No trigger, grade 2, safe. 1 less card to worry about. Now the end skill. Counterblast 1, Counterblast, and discarding 2 cards. I discard Dragritter Hulk. Treat as 2 cards. Discard and the end skill. Go. Restanding my Vanguard. -1 drive. Halt skill. Superior call to the back row. Calling it behind Nehalem. Call. Plus 5,000 power. Now, the end attacks the Vanguard. 28k, 1 drive. The attack goes through. Drive check. Yes, another heal trigger. I heal 1 point of damage, healing, and give all effects, all the power to my Dragon Knight Nehalem. And the tables have turned. The end attack goes through. Bang, 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 slash, 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 burn. Damage check. No trigger, alright. 4 damage. Now, boosted by Dragritter Hulk. Nehalem attacks the Vanguard, 48k. The attack goes through and pierce. Damage check. No trigger, grade 3, safe. 1 less card to worry about. That's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn. Here it comes, the Grade 3, Approaching Fangs, Chaos. Skill of the Grade 2 Chaos' skill. Soul Charging a critical trigger, nice. Vanguard skill. Counter Blast and Superior Call a heal trigger, nice. And skill of the Grade 3, he Soul Charges. He Soul Charged a, yes, a trigger. More triggers out of his deck. Vanguard Chaos' skill. Power to the rear guard, and I got plenty to guard with, so I'm only at 2 damage. I'll let the Vanguard go through. No guard. Twin Drive, first check. No trigger. Ah, perfect guard. Lucky him. Second check. Grade 3, Mikan. And so 1 damage to me. Here it comes. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. Ethan. Here comes the rear guard. Amazing Frost boosted by Maldigal. 25k. My opponent has 7 cards in hand, so I have more than enough counterblast to work with, so I guess I'll just guard. I guard with Cure Flare Draco Kit. Nope. Guarding with here, Blaze War Monk Soul Guild, 28k. Guard. The attack is blocked and Kachink, safe. Now here comes the Grade 3 Time Fissuring Fist Colossus, 13k. I guard with Cure Flare Draco Kid, guard, 23k. The attack is blocked and Kachink, safe. End of my opponent's turn. Now it's my turn. Stand and draw. Ah, critical trigger, another trigger wasted. Come on, seriously? Fine, whatever. I'm gonna Persona Ride D-BT10 from my hand. Let's do this! Persona Ride! Dragonic Overlord D-BT10, power up, draw more cards. I drew Kogaflan, not bad, so... First, I'm going to activate Arthur Hatchet Dragon's skill. Self-retreat and take an Overlord from the drop zone to move to the soul. I'm taking the classic Dragonic Overlord, power up my Vanguard and get a skill. Next, Nehalem's skill. Soul Blast D-BT10 and power up to himself and Overlord. Looking good here. Power up and I call Kogaflan to the rear guard. Call. Kogaflan skill. Counterblast 1. I retire all rear guards in the same column, so get out of here, Colossus. And finally, I'm going to call... Here we go, Burning Flail Dragon to the rear guard, over here. That should be enough. On to battle phase. First, Dragonic Overlord D-BT10 attacks the Vanguard, 33k. He perfect guards, I knew that was coming. He discards for the perfect guard, cost another perfect guard. Oh, that's pretty good for me. Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, Overlord. And second check. Yes, over trigger, lucky. I restand my Vanguard, 100 million power. I drew a Grade Gradel, yes, Persona Ride material. The attack fails, but now I got another attack to make to my Vanguard. Not activating the end skill yet. The Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 100 million power. He perfect guards. And for the perfect guard cost, he's discarding a Keel trigger. Alright, Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, Hall, nice, just what I needed. Second check. Burning Horn, another good draw. The attack fails, but now, here it comes. The end skill. Counterblast 1, discard 2 cards. I'm discarding Drop Ritter Hull, treat as 2 cards. And let's do this! Restand the Vanguard to end. Then, here comes Drag Ritter Hull skill. Superior Call to the back row. And go! Call plus 5,000 power. Boosted by Drag Ritter Hulk. The end attacks the Vanguard. 100 million power plus. The attack goes through. Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, Overlord, second check. Yes, draw trigger. I draw a card. I drew another Burning Horn. Pretty good. Giving power to Kogaflan. And the attack goes through, so 1 damage to the opponent. Let's go! Bang, bang, bang! Slash, slash, slash! Burn! Damage check. No trigger! No, it's a draw trigger! Yes, cannot heal. 6 damage. I win! That was a pretty okay fight. It was pretty rough at the beginning, but I got to try out the new cards in the deck and make them work pretty well. So I got Win, double trigger, attack 100,000 more power, drew an over trigger, did a persona ride, 6 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 more opposing units and 1 of 10 or more cards in the hand, and drew 3 or more times in 1 turn. I got 2950 VP, total VP 412,000, 25 VP. Pressing A to go next, and leaving the fight, returning the fight menu, leaving fight menu, going back to main menu. Here we are in the main menu, off to the edit deck menu. With that, the deck has been built, Cardfight explained, and I just finished testing the deck out in front of you. So, first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you'll show your support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye and